you sail with me out on the rolling sea? We'll find some place to go, maybe down to Barbados. It's an island off somewhere in the middle of nowhere, sailing to freedom.
Hey everyone, so last week you saw where the digital throttle control ended up at, and today we're gonna show you where it is. We're gonna do the entire interior layout of the saloon area, the galley and also the nav desk. And as you probably also saw on Dallas and Plucky mentioned before, we have exactly the same issues as them. It's a lot of decisions, measurements, materials, how to glue them together, how to fix them. And I hope I will give you a little bit of an insight what we're going to do in the Odyssey catamaran. It's a bespoke design for us. It's not the standard Odyssey catamaran, and that's basically because we have a much bigger nav desk area that we need to use for all our equipment. So let's start off with that. Okay, we're back in the cut. I saw in Dallas that they like to use physical models, which gives you a better look and feel, of course. But for me, it's sufficient to use the cut. Sorry for the flickering, because I have multiple cut files mixed together. So this is our saloon and galley area. We basically decided to put the saloon on the starboard side. Mostly because it's close to the tech room, which you will see later in one of the episodes coming. Because under the sofa we will put the 12-volt batteries as well. So the sofa, the table goes on the starboard side, and then on the port side we also put all the sanitary and water equipment, the water maker, etc. And so it's logical that also the galley is on that side. In blue here you will see the nav desk, which is fairly large. We have a lot of monitoring systems to go on there. And then of course we also have the space in the middle, which we filled up with a kitchen island, let's say, to have more workspace for the kitchen. So this is the layout, how it's roughly gonna be. We go over to cut again and again draw a sketch of the layout and start extruding it with the dimensions. Very difficult here is that when we first saw the Vietnamese guys making the mock-up of the galley, they kind of made all the measurements to their size, and as you know, Asian people are a little bit smaller than Western people, so the countertops were not high enough. So this is all adjusted for that. So you see here the saloon area getting into shape. Me adding initially 2 fridge and freezers on the port side there, putting in a sink and creating the cabinets, etc. to get a rough feel. Now we did about 6 or 7 iterations of this. We also enlarged the fridge and the freezers because we didn't feel there was enough space in them. That way they're going into the hull. But then later on we changed our minds again. So these have been several discussions, many hours of thinking about it together with Plucky. And this is the rough first layout like you see here. So let's move also into the nav desk. Here is the big fridge blocks that I mentioned. Nav desk, it always starts off the same way. We create a little sketch of the shape that we want, we extrude it. Now I'll be hollowing it out in the bottom. So this is where all the electronic equipment is gonna go. I put some stuff in. This is the Victron Ekrano GX monitor. You see here on the left a lot of electronic parts that need to go in. And these are the Roypow monitors. Now I also put in the Raymarine, the Axiom and the i70s, and I start to play around with the layout and the radio and where to place it, etc. There's also two big computer monitors that we're going to use because we're going to have our own monitoring application as well. So after playing around with the layout, I noticed actually I didn't have enough room to fit everything, and I enlarged the cabinet a little bit by doing this. It had just enough space to put everything on. So we're getting close to the final layout. This is the this is actually the 6th iteration. We changed some measurements here, also taking into account the width of the passages between the sofa, how to get into the sofa and the table. A lot of discussions, a lot of design goes into this, and this is actually the render of the final iteration that we're doing here. Creating a rough block of the sofa, the table. Now this is all subject to change. It's a rough idea of what we want, but of course you will get practical issues like Delos has when you start to do this on how to fix things, and there might be some small iterations in the future. Here I'm making a hanging locker and a wardrobe just to get some more storage space in the cabin. Putting in a nice sofa to sit on the nav desk, because we'll spend a lot of time there on all our systems. And then we decided to not have the fridges on the port side. We're actually gonna buy this fridge. It's a very simple Vietnamese local bought one. It's 8.5 million dong, which is about $300. We have a lot of budget constraints, so going for these really nice marine fridges sliding out that will cost $5,000 is simply out of the question. So here I'm designing an enclosure for it, which we will use as an island. So there's going to be a lid on it, and which will open on both ways. And we place that in the middle of the layout. So let's put it all now in how it's probably gonna look like. And you see the nav disk front facing with all the systems, some workspace to put a laptop or similar. The sink is still gonna go in on this side. We don't know how big it's gonna be. It depends what we can source locally. And yeah, you see the fridge and the freezer, the sofa layout, and then the wardrobe and a hanging locker on that side. So a first idea of what it's gonna be for the Elcano challenge. And with that, I would say, take it back, Plucky. Let's work on it a little bit more.
What's up today, good people? I'm checking out the gear from Weimar. I don't know if you've heard of Weimar, but you should check them out. I'm partially sponsored by them. I need to get the feeder height. That's the distance between the tack at the shackle and where the bolt rope goes into the slot. Let's go check out their gear. The Italians, they're great engineers, but they also know how to make things beautiful, people. Let's go check it out. This is the lower toggle that goes to the chain plate on the crossbeam. I have 2 furlers supplied by Weimar in here, but everything is clearly labelled, so I won't botch it up. How nice is this? I don't even want to expose this to the salty environment, people. It's so nice. So this lower foil is the hoisting foil. This gets buried into the drum here, about 100 mil. And the distance I'm actually after, or what the sailmaker was after, was this distance here. Well, actually no, from there to the tack, which is somewhere down here. So basically the luff bolt rope will feed into this slot here, and this distance here between the tack at the top of the drum and the feeder is the measurement that the sailmaker is wanting. What I also have to tell him is that the bottom part of the luff can also be fed into the foil to just above the drum, because I would prefer a fully supported luff. I've supplied a lot of measurements to the sailmaker over the past few weeks, but I have a problem. Now, I've been in this box a couple of times because the sailmaker is wanting very specific measurements. Look, there's a bit of anxiety. Well, I have a bit of anxiety because the rig is not up. I think it is safer to get the measurements when the rig is up using a tape measure, because you can actually see what you are measuring, where you are measuring to, and the different type of gear that you may be using that may affect the measurement that you are giving to the sailmaker, than if you're going to the CAD or a drawing and getting the measurements from the drawing, because, you know, it's going to be a little bit out. I mean, it shouldn't be out by too much, but you know, depending on what type of furler you've got to do some calculations. It's so much easier if your furler's already on. For example, let's look at the luff length. This is what I was measuring a couple of weeks ago. So measuring the luff length of the head sail. It's so easy. You just have normally the swivel, if there's no sail on it, you keep it down below. Well, you could keep it up, but you have a feeder line to bring it down, because sometimes the swivel's not heavy enough to drop down by itself, people. Remember, always have a feeder line on the shackle on the bottom of the swivel. Anyway, so you've got your swivel there. You simply get your measuring tape, you attach it to the shackle, and you hoist it up with a corresponding rope to hoist it back down. Don't forget. And then you simply measure the distance from the shackle to the shackle above the drum. It's easy peasy. That is your luff length. But when you don't have that, and all you've got is pin-to-pin measurement, and then you've got to look at the furler and the furler length and where the shackle is on it, and you've got to do all these measurements. I must admit, I would much prefer to do it the old-fashioned way by having it already up and just measuring from the swivel tack down to the drum tack. So I have done this before, but the sailmaker has come back and he said, oh, what's the feeder height? So where does the bolt rope go into above the tack, above the drum? So hopefully I'll get all of this to him. I'll write an email expressing some reservations about what should we do. Now, of course, if I've got the rig up and then I supply all of these details, the EP, IJ, luff lengths and whatnot to the sailmaker, it's then going to be probably another month or month and a half for it to be made. Then it's going to be a month sailing over, and then, you know, it's customs and sailing to freedom. Then we're going to have another month there, so that's another 2.5 months. So I really want to get all of these measurements right, but the sailmaker has also expressed some reservations about this too. So part of the problems in ordering sails off the plan, people. So this is my market street that's closest to me. Well, one of them. They're everywhere. No more than 400 or 500 metres away from each other. Oh, maybe a bit more. This is probably 300 metres long and everything's fresh. There's no refrigeration. Straight from the farm in the morning or straight from the fishermen that have fished last night. Everything's fresh. They're all sitting in there bubbling. You've got little aquariums just to keep them alive. Unbelievable, no refrigeration, just the pork all butchered. Out here, they'll sell it all by like probably 9:30 or 10, and that's it. Great, great. You know avocados, you know how you buy avocados and they start to go ripe and then they go off, they go brown? Not in Vietnam. They go soft, they go softer, they go softer. You can still eat them, it's great. think, oh, Bucky, he looks like a foreigner here, he's going to get ripped off with prices. No, same prices. Not at all. They always give correct change, show you all the money. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So in 300 metres we've got about, I don't know, 20 places that sell fish. Maybe 15, 20 places sell meat, fresh meat on the side, and probably 50 places with vegetables. Unbelievable. Everything gathered from probably 4 a.m. this morning. Now it's about 7. But you got to keep an eye out for the people driving scooters. They don't look at all. They reverse, don't look. They pull out into traffic, don't look. And if you don't pay attention, well, it's your fault. But they certainly don't pay attention. And they'll drive on any side that's convenient. Doesn't matter. That's $8 a kilo for that. Unbelievable. I know, I can't believe I bought fish, but I'm going to have to start eating other than pork. Pork's predominant. Yeah, I usually have a rule. If I don't hunt it, kill it, butcher it, rip it apart and eat its heart, well, it's still beating, and its liver, well, the liver doesn't beat, you know, you get my drift. So if I don't catch and kill it, my usual rule is I don't eat it. But I'm afraid I've become domesticated people in the last year. Heaven forbid. This is nothing, people. I've had like maybe 8-9 kilos of oranges, mangoes and passion fruit, like literally probably 20 kilos on here. And I'll tell you a funny story. I was going to narrate it whilst I was driving, but once I picked up the oranges, well, that's a momentum that's hard to reckon with one hand doing a selfie. So I was going down the road, I was completely loaded up, and this crazy lady came out. Well, it's just normal because they just come out and drive out any direction, any way they want. They might see something on one side of the road, boom, right in front of you. And I madly swerved, and of course, because of all the momentum on both handlebars, went one way, and then I overcorrected, went the other way, missed the lady, actually swerved right around her. But then there was all this other oncoming traffic, down the street, and they're probably going, bloody crazy foreigner. It's not my fault. Anyway, end of excursion. Hope you enjoyed it. Now it's time for steaming the fish.